And we have as a speaker today a very distinguished individual, Dr. Miley Gonzalez, who is Deputy Director General of the Tropical Agriculture Research and Higher Education Center, or CATIE as it's called. He received his bachelor's and master's from the University of Arizona and his PhD from Penn State. He's a fascinating individual. I get the joy of telling you a little bit about him. In addition to serving in this very responsible position, he's also held the positions of Director of Development and External Affairs and Interim Dean of the Graduate School at this international university in Turrialba, Costa Rica. Dr. Gonzalez served on the faculty and administration at the University of Arizona, at Penn State, at Iowa State University, and he's always championed international cooperation in research, education, and extension, and has worked extensively with rural development programs in Mexico, Venezuela, and Costa Rica. His public service includes the important role of serving as the Department of Agriculture of the United States Undersecretary for Research, Education, and Economics in the Clinton administration. He was confirmed by the Senate in 1997. He then returned to New Mexico State University to serve as Associate Dean and Director for the Agriculture Experiment Station, and subsequently as Vice Provost for Research and the Federal Liaison to Congress for the university. Dr. Gonzalez retired from that position in 2010 as Professor Emeritus at New Mexico State University after a 42-year career in private and public sectors in education and agriculture. Dr. Gonzalez also served as Secretary of Agriculture of the state of New Mexico from 2003 until 2010. Dr. Gonzalez, we're very pleased to have you with us today, and we very much look forward to your comments. I welcome you to the lectern. Let's welcome Dr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much, and let me take this opportunity to say buenos dias. That's an old saying from my DC days. I'm delighted to be a part of this forum, the opportunity to participate here with our BIFAD meeting, thanks to the board, President Cruzado, Executive Director Susan Owens, and others of you that have been instrumental in getting CATIE an opportunity to have a little discussion and share with you the things that we're doing as an international university. I'm going to go through a set of slides. I think having a tendency to sometimes ad-lib maybe a little too much. I'm going to try and follow the slides and stay within the time frame that we've been given, and then if we have any extra time, we'll have an opportunity for some comments perhaps and or questions. And since we're talking about social media, I did bring some brochures, and on the back there's a place where you can follow us on Twitter and to friend us on Facebook for CATIE, so you'll have that opportunity. I asked to make sure that I could see the monitor so that I know that I'm on the slide that I'm talking about, so I'll try to move through these. By the way, the building that you see here is the center of our campus, the Henry A. Wallace building. And as I share with you a little bit of the history of the institution, you'll understand the relationship that this institution has with our U.S. counterparts here in the country, and certainly as an international university, the things that we're seeing that are emerging as part of this scenario of looking at the land-grant model of having those different program areas. So I'll look at this. It's, I think, a unique university in the sense that it's an international university located in Costa Rica, and it's based on the model of the land-grant system here in the U.S. So our three functions are very much the same as we would see here with our programs in the land-grant systems, whether it's the tribal colleges, the HBCUs, the 1862s, and then our SACUs, our Hispanic-serving agricultural colleges and universities, which came about as a matter of the 2008 Farm Bill, which we had an opportunity to participate with. So education, of course, higher education, we're a graduate school, and I'll share some of that detail with you as I go through this. The absolute important part of doing our research activity, and agricultural and natural resource areas are the fundamental programs that we have at CATIE. It's only a graduate school, as I mentioned, and our science, our research is applied research, and it's conducted through a variety of programs and projects in the member countries, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes. Again, as a land-grant model institution, we do the outreach work that takes place through our member countries, and I'll show you where those are located in just a few minutes in the map. Henry Wallace, in the early 40s, came to Costa Rica and was looking for a place during that time of war, for a place where additional research could be done for potential products that could be used during the war effort. And so he discovered this little town of Turrialba, about 100,000, and established what is now CATIE, at that time IICA, the Inter-American Institute for Agricultural Sciences. And that's where the CA came, that it was changed in the 70s to what is now CATIE. In our education programs, again, a land-grant model university, the oldest graduate school that focuses on agriculture and natural resources in Latin America. The master's programs, again, our first graduates, they started in 1942, our first graduates in 1946, and you can see the list there. I'm not going to read the list, but our science and academic component has been a part of our tradition for now, almost 70 years, and we are focused on those things, and very much with the discussion earlier today, that are rural poverty and alleviation of that in the Central American region has been our focus. And so certainly hunger and poverty are at the heart of the work that CATIE does through our various master's degrees. These are the ones that, it says academic, but they're the scientific areas. The other are professional master's degrees. Many of these are in Spanish, but most recently are programs like the combined effort with University of North Texas. It's the Master's in Sustainable Tourism. That's taught in English. Our emerging program in the area of agricultural business, international business, and now we're looking at sustainable business development, and that's also done in English. And it's one of those where our diploma program is actually done in Spanish. The PhD programs started in 1996, so we are going on for a good number of years. One of those is a joint program with University of Idaho here in the States. The other is a joint program with Bangor University in Wales, and then our own programs, our doctoral programs, the one in English, and then the other one in Spanish that really addresses the needs that we have in the region and in Latin America as a whole. And so we have students from over 25 countries, our faculty about the same number. So it's a very cosmopolitan group, and as I share with you a little bit regarding our faculty members, you'll see that it's indeed an international university in every sense of the word. We have, as I see that photograph, it reminds me, we have 62 students that entered the program in January of this year, master's and doctoral students. Our regional and scientific platform, we are looking at how we position CATIE to continue to emerge as a regional research platform in the Americas that would serve as a place where, as we look at the land grant systems here and the kinds of things that we want to do with regard to the collaborative research, the opportunity for faculty. We talked with some of our faculty and students yesterday that we would provide this platform, which would, I think, provide the great opportunity and a very safe environment in Central America for the continuation of our programs. I'm having difficulty reading it from this. I either have to have glasses or those letters have to be bigger than what they are here. Oh, I can see. You can see them pretty well from the screen there, but from my distance, I'm having some difficulty with that. In any case, as you look at the long history of the things that we've been doing and the emerging programs and addressing needs, I think it's important that we understand that we have in CATIE an institution that for many other institutions becomes a great place for that kind of cooperation. Collaborative work, and as you see there, more than 400 partners, any number of embassies, IICA, private sector, a long list of the work that we're doing with a number of places. One of the areas that has been a concern is that we've not done as much with the private sector as we would like, and in one of the areas, we have two major program areas of research. One is with cacao, chocolate, and the other one is coffee. And I think most of us like either one or both. And so one of the opportunities there is to continue to expand the opportunity. In fact, I just saw a video last night that's it's a little cartoon. It's about 2 minutes, and I'll give you the information for that. But it's called The End of Chocolate. And it talks about some of the problems of disease and other things that are taking place around the world, whether it's Ghana or Costa Rica or other places, and the impact that that will have on the industry. So a lot of these things that we're doing, we're trying to expand the opportunities that we're providing for our own graduate students and for our faculty as well as for others. Again, the regional platform, and we have at this time 18 scientists from different institutions and different program areas that are seconded to CATIE. By the end of this summer, we should have 22. Bioversity is increasing the number of faculty that are there. CIRAD, the French research group, has at this point 12 of those faculty members that do research at CATIE. And then you see the list there that continues to grow. Recently, we signed an MOU with FAO, and so now CATIE is being recognized by FAO as a center of excellence. And so we're, again, looking always to increase the opportunities that we have for faculty and students. One of the new programs, and we were having this discussion as I talked with Susan and others of our BIFAD board, the increasing number of opportunities that have come about because of our relationship with the U.S. and with USAID specifically. The regional climate change program that is taking place in the region and in the Dominican Republic is headquartered in El Salvador, where we have the mission for USAID. And then you can see at the bottom of the screen the other partners, DAI, CARE, and others that are part of that program on climate change. We have probably 5 or 6 of the world's top scientists in climate change activity. I know other places, you know, we refer to it as climate diversification or other terminology, but in essence, we're really concerned. This group has been working on some of these things for quite some time now, almost 20 years in some cases, and we continue to see and look at how climate change is affecting a lot of other things, and whether it's health or production or other parts of the agenda, mitigation, adaptation, those are all part of the effort that's going on. The Mesoamerica Agro-Environmental Program is a major program that is taking place in Nicaragua and up into Honduras. It's sponsored by the government of Norway. We have 2 major projects. In fact, when we think of the donor community, and I'm going to share with you in a few minutes the model for our financial discussion that we were having earlier with the tribal colleges, how that impacts what the model has been for how we do business, if you will, at CATIE. This is one program. Another of our sponsors has been the Finland, and the FIN4 program is a forestry and forest management activity, and that's coming to an end. So we're looking at, in terms of the funding, but we're looking at how we continue to do the work in that region and other places as the importance of our forest and the RED program, adaptation, and in many of our cases at the local level, you know, those forests become a tremendous resource, not only for wood production, but as we look at this combination of production, environment, and all of those other social and cultural components of what's taking place in that arena. In terms of our outreach activity, you can see on that map the member countries. We have offices in each of those areas. We're looking at, as we continue to look at and expand it, our outreach effort. And when I think of MSU and your other campuses that are here in this state, and other systems much like these in other parts of the U.S., we're looking at the potential and opportunity to identify these, I guess, as satellite campuses, so that not only are we having an office that does the administrative piece, but it's a place that provides an opportunity for additional education, training, the applied research, and certainly all of the elements that comprise what CATIE is doing. So you see in that central part of South America, where we're working with Paraguay, in Bolivia, and the state of Acre in Brazil. So the themes that we are concentrating on, and I wanted to be sure that we spend a little bit of time talking about the business model. As I indicated to you, Henry Wallace was instrumental in getting CATIE started. We've had a relationship with Iowa and Iowa State for many, many years, and with a lot of other U.S. universities. And the business model was one that shifted from support from the U.S. in the early stages. And as political things take place, and remember the move toward Eastern Europe, and then later on many of the donor community members went to Africa with an emphasis there in development. And so a lot of that funding went away, and much of the funding now comes from the European economic community. We have some funding that now comes from the Pacific Rim, from Australia and New Zealand. And so we've looked at how we continue to increase and look at resources for the work that we're doing as a land-grant university. 5% or less of our funding comes from our member countries. So the other 95%, this is for the faculty that are here that you might be of interest to you. The other 95% of the funding comes from the efforts of our faculty through grants and contracts and consultancies and other mechanisms. So because of the shifting of the type of funding that we were receiving, we became very entrepreneurial, and we have a great deal of flexibility for faculty to engage in partnerships with faculty elsewhere. And as you saw with the faculty that are seconded to CATIE to continue to provide that. We have 5 faculty members that will arrive this year to do either sabbaticals or joint research, or that are being seconded by other agencies. We have a great relationship with the CGIAR system, and again, that's another one of those things that fits very nicely into the business model because of the funding that goes to the system, and that hopefully in the partnership, you know, the research system does research. CATIE does research and education and extension. And so they're looking for those elements that we have to help broaden, if you will, the scope of what the CGIAR centers are doing. I saw a map as part of our presentation yesterday, and of the 15 centers, we now have a strong relationship with 5 of those. And when we saw that map that Mark Warner showed us of the U.S. with the centers that are doing that research, those elements, we actually have, if you will, membership with 10 of those centers. And I discovered, you know, I'm a Penn State graduate. I discovered that Penn State does research in cacao, and I didn't know that. Well, it happened after I graduated, so that was kind of an excuse for not knowing that. But when I went back and found out, I said, how can this be? You know, here we have Penn State. I don't remember much chocolate being grown here. And Deanna says, well, you have to remember, Hershey is just down the road. So that was the relationship of how they've been very, very engaged, very involved, and we have some of our faculty that will be coming to get their doctorates at Penn State. And so we're looking for those kind of opportunities as we expand on this business model. The nature of CATIE is, I've just indicated to you, we're a land grant modeled institution. We're international. We have all of those elements that provide an opportunity for partners. We now have a growing number of other institutions from other countries that are partnering with us. We're signing MOUs. And President Cruzado, is one of the things that we hope to be able to do is to sign an MOU with MSU before very long, hopefully this summer. But the idea is that we have concrete activity going on even before we sign those MOUs. So for faculty, we just had Dr. LaChapelle, who was there for 3 months and did part of his work on the CATIE campus. In fact, he's invited me to help him write a book, and I said, well, I'll do the intro and you do the rest of the writing. I haven't written a book in such a long time. The other part of this is that the agenda continues to change. We're looking at expanding the opportunities for our students. Beyond our master's degree programs, many of them will be looking for institutions to go and work on a PhD. And so, again, the relationship that we have with 28 U.S. universities now becomes important to them. I had a young man that we thought we were going to recruit him to come to the U.S. He is going to Spain to work on his doctorate. And another one, a young lady going to Holland, to Wageningen University to do her PhD. So I guess the message, to give you a little bit of an overview of what this institution is doing, I've been very excited to be a part of the faculty there and be a part of the agenda. I've known about CATIE for about 30 years and joined them just recently, the last couple of years, to be engaged in a lot of the funding and expanding programs and increasing relationships with others. One of the areas that's of great interest in as this agenda changes is in our South-South cooperation, that CATIE is now partnered with FAO and with the government of Equatorial Guinea to help with this technology transfer, with the sharing of resources, with training, and with educating their agricultural and forestry sectors. So the opportunities and the things that we're doing, I think, are pretty dynamic, and we hope that students from MSU, from other institutions, will take a look at coming to work on a master's degree or a doctoral degree, and that for our faculty, we would have the opportunity. We have a number of faculty that only have master's degrees, and so we're looking at opportunities for them to come and complete PhDs. So let me stop with that, and I know that the time is limited, but I'm here. I brought some, as Mark did yesterday, as an extensionist. I brought propaganda and information that can be shared. With your smartphones, you can actually go on here and you can get an aerial view of the campus. So even before you get there, you will have a chance to see what it looks like. It's a great place in the tropical agriculture area. Thank you so much. I'll quit, and then we'll see if there's any possibility of any questions or comments. Thank you. Thank you. That is one of our hopes, is that we're able to continue that. I mentioned that Dr. LaChapelle was there. Just had a visit this morning to meet Dr. Manald, who's interested in also doing a sabbatical. But I think one of the possibilities, certainly as we continue to be open to this new agenda, is the possibility for joint appointments, and particularly as we look at research. Ours is an applied research. We always can benefit from the bench science, if you will, the other research that's taking place. For example, the new clones for coffee and cacao have come about because of the continuing work that we're doing to expand our biotechnology activity. But imagine if we can do some of that, and that's what we're doing right now with Penn State with cacao, is to be able to take advantage of all of the facility that's there. So when we have limited resources, and you can't have a lab like that everywhere, and the fact that we have faculty that have interest in this internationalization, if you will, but more importantly, to work on this agenda of hunger and poverty, because we're looking for application of that science. The small growers, that was part of the agenda that was discussed here, over 5,000 small growers in Central America that grow coffee and cacao. So the kind of research and the kind of activity that we're working on that we would welcome, other faculty to join us, is the impact at that local level. I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're about. And so whether it's the training or the education and that applied research, I think that's why CATIE has been successful over almost 70 years of the kind of work that they continue to do in the natural resources and agriculture area. And beyond agriculture, it's beyond just the technical, that social, cultural, economic, and environmental piece is tremendously important to the total agenda. So thank you. We would welcome the opportunity to increase our relationship. We have the MOU signed, developed. We just haven't signed it yet, but we're going to. Thank you for your question, your comment.
Dr. Gonzalez, thank you again. We're going to move ahead because of time here. We appreciate the interest in the question, and your presentation just illustrated again the importance of capacity building and a commitment to poverty and hunger and building a sustainable environment. And certainly CATIE must get some credit for the fabulous reputation Costa Rica has globally. And the number of tourists there, I'm sure, attest to that to some degree, as well as your capacity. So thank you so much for the partnerships that you have developed over the years. Let's give him another round of applause.